Hi everyone! Oh, of course we got sun now and I'm overexposed. Oh my gosh, I could not figure out what was going on. I was so confused. I just said in the chat, if you're watching the replay, why is that? We'll figure that out in a minute. If you're watching the replay, I accidentally started a stream for the behind the scenes Patreon stream. And so I was like, I see comments on my computer, but the stream isn't there. What's going on? And why are no comments like in my dashboard? And so that was funny. But if you want to check out the Patreon, I'll drop a link in the chat. So at not the lowest tier of the Patreon, but at the middle and higher tiers, you get access to a behind the scenes live stream every month. And so that is something that is a lot of fun, and I need to adjust the exposure again because I'm overexposed for sure. Let's do default. Okay. No, we'll do that. No, I had it. All right, there we go. And another thing you can do if you want access to that behind the scenes live stream is you can also join to become a channel member. You can see Beth just shared their member for 11 months. Woohoo! As a ChemKnits lab tech. At the postdoc level, there's two levels. Lab techs, is this the way I have it set up? Lab techs get access to the emotes and all the badges and fun things like that. And then postdocs also get access to that behind the scenes live stream that I do while I'm filming a new episode of Dipot Weekly. Yeah, Gretchen, I totally messed that up. I totally messed that up. Oh my gosh. So what I'll probably do, because I know that those links go out as an email, I'll see if I can edit the post with the new link, and maybe I can resend that. I don't know if that'll resend it or if I'll have to make a new post, but I'll try to update the links in the old post just in case. Because, yeah, I was like, why is there no one here? Hello, welcome everyone. Okay, I'm going to pop out the chat. Okay, so today we're going to do two different things. We are going to dye some, I guess I should say, hello everyone, I'm Rebecca from ChemKnits, and welcome to the ChemKnits Dye Along live stream. So today, eventually, we're going to dye some yarn inspired by this month's inspiration photo. I have on my counter, which also looks overexposed now, a bunch of colors. Okay, fixing that, but I can come back here. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And so every month I pick a new picture, I dye some yarn in a live stream inspired by the photo, and then I invite all of you at home to dye something also inspired by the photo. And you can share those photos with me on Instagram using the ChemKnits Dye Along hashtag, or reply to the inspiration photo with a photo comment on the ChemKnits Facebook page. And then I'll pull a bunch of those photos to include in my recap, which will come out around the 15th of the following month. And so it's a lot of fun to see how different people might interpret a photo all together. Oh, foster kittens, oh my goodness. I'm glad to entertain you while you do that. That's a lot of work, and thank you for taking care of the kitties. Yeah, but we're going to start today, should cover that up, with an unboxing. And so we're going to unbox this month's Paradise Fibers Fiber of the Month Club. Okay, I will be right back. Again, I did it again. Should just see. Sometimes if I try to peel, well, I'll just show the correct side. But this month's Fiber of the Month Club is really fun. It's got a beachy theme, and things feel very compact in here. So I'm excited to see what we have. Now, this video is not sponsored, but Paradise Fibers does send me this for free every month. And I've got a very busy week, and so I wanted to open this up. Ooh, okay, we've got like a gold shiny bag with some, it's a dense squish in there. We've got, we've got a pink organza bag that has some dense squish. We've got some blended fiber in there. Ooh. Okay. We've got, Miami Nights is the theme. Oh my gosh, that is so. Okay, normally I try to look at the fiber, but I mean, even though this will be hard, I gotta put on these shades. Oh my gosh, this is gonna get really hard to see. All right, let's open up the fiber. Okay, what do we have in here? Ooh. Is there a scent? Maybe I'm smelling the tea because I just opened this up. Yeah. Ooh. Oh no. Okay, there's a bar of soap in here. That's what I'm smelling. So there's a tea, wild raspberry hibiscus, but I think there's some Celebi soaps in lavender, and so that's what I'm in here, and that's what I'm smelling, I think. But the nice thing is that it's in this like packaging, and so I didn't smell it until I opened this. But if you are sensitive to scents, you can reach out. They used to sometimes include some oils in their boxes, and you could request a scentless one. So I don't know if you can request one without the soap. All right, but let's focus on the fiber. So this looks like a deeper magenta from far away, but if you take a closer look, there is some like deep magenta in here, but we've got like blue and yellow and pink and maybe something deeper. But so this, I wouldn't call this exactly neon, but maybe what happens when you blend neons together. Let's look at the other one. I'm trying to guess the fiber type because I haven't looked at the sheet yet. Ooh, we're stuck. Oh, because I have the bag opening strange. Ooh, this one is like turquoise with pops of like gold stellina to give a little bit of like shiver. This is really fun. I think we could have gone a little bit more neon for like the beachy theme, but these are very pretty. I love the little hint of sparkle that's in here. Let me bring it closer. I don't know if it'll sparkle on camera, but there are some subtle hints in with this blue of pink and yellow as well. Okay, so let's see what we actually have. Sun and fun. Okay, in your bag, we've got 4 ounces of, Miami Nightlife. This is a beautiful 90s inspired cyan, yellow, and magenta blend made of 100% responsibly sourced merino wool. And then there's also 4 ounces of Beach Party. This is a wonderful, rich Mediterranean tonal blend with colorful sparkle. This is 87.5% Corriedale, 12.5% nylon. So I wonder if the sparkly things in there are nylon. Okay, we've got a Miami Nights vinyl sticker. And this does smell a little bit like the soap. This is a big one. I mean, it's got a big one, but twinning. Oh, that's so cute. And then we've got the 1 bar of Celebi handmade soap, which I am sealing mine back up because it smells more. I smell more just like soap than lavender, but lavender is not my favorite scent. I'll be honest. But it's like looks like it's a really nice like handmade soap. The ingredients are listed on there, very few ingredients. And then we have a little palm tree charm. Super, super cute, and it passes the charm pass around test. So that is something that I always like to see. But yeah, this is super, super fun. And I do want to add, as my glasses fall off, web browsing, that every month there are some Fiber Club exclusive deals. So the Fiber Club, you always get 10% off all Paradise Fibers brand fiber. But then there are other items that are also discounted. And so like this month we've got the Stella Bee soaps. Ooh, look, that one has shells in it. Those are so cute. Some needles and other things because they have a project recommended and whatnot in the newsletter as I find the right camera. So let's see. This month's Fiber Club was all about fun and color, and so they found like a pattern that can deliver both. And yeah. Ooh, look at the colors like spun and worked together. That's super pretty. Super, super pretty. With like the spinning something like this won't necessarily feel variegated. It could, but it might feel more heathered. I will say that mine are like feel very jewel toned versus neon, but that isn't really a problem. So thank you, Paradise Fibers. And yeah, we can get to the dialogue. I was like really wanting to open this, but we have family in town, there's a wedding this weekend, there's just a lot going on. Commencement, because students graduating, retirement parties, we've got a lot. Oh, and this is like holographic, which made me really happy. And hilariously, I think sometimes like I'm on the same wavelength as Paradise Fibers. I've looked at those before, but they weren't big enough for full skeins, which I think is really funny. Please continue. Well, the shades were falling off, so that's why I put them back in the bag. But otherwise I would have. If they like stayed, they're a little bit like super flexible. And so, yeah, they did it. They stayed on my eyes fine, but as a headband, that didn't quite work very well. But now I can put up this again. Let's see. Yeah, great minds think alike. Yay! I think that this is a really good, the Paradise Fibers Fiber Club, which, oh, I don't even know if I said, like, it starts at $34.99 a month. That includes shipping within the continental U.S., and then there's options if you live internationally as well. It is a good box for someone who is starting out spinning because you get a variety of different types of fiber. So you get different breeds of wool, sometimes different blends with synthetic, sometimes things that are space dyed or blended or natural, and so it can help you play around with different ways that you can play with the color through spinning, and then see like, oh, I really like creating yarn out of fiber like this. And so it's a nice way to help you get a variety of different things. Plus Paradise Fibers, they're super, super nice. The team is really, really nice. But all right, now let's shift gears to the dialogue. So at one point I thought like, I know exactly what I want to do. And then I've changed my mind and I've gone back and forth a lot. So one thing I thought about doing, but then I realized that this felt very similar to the kind of colorway I created the last two dye-alongs, I think, is I wanted to do like a resist dye into green. And then I wanted to like either do like pops of color like on those resists that maybe I paint in after the fact. Or, you know, maybe even speckles. But that's very similar to what I did with the snakeskin inspired yarn. And then even though I didn't do the resist with the daffodil inspired yarn, I still did like patches of yellow with speckles in between. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like falling into this pattern. I mean, it's a technique and a type of colorway that I love. I'm like, okay, I'm falling into this pattern, so maybe I won't do that. And so then I was like, okay, well, we could do, yeah, so we could do something with like scribbles, which I'm not prepped to do that yet, but we could do that. I think I do want to do some kind of heavy speckles though. And what's interesting about doing this is that the green I'm probably going to use is going to spread out a lot on the yarn. And one of the first times I tried to do a speckled colorway with probably emerald green was, I think, the green I used. I was perplexed about why it didn't really stay speckly, and that's because it's a green that spreads a lot. So I'm okay if the green is less speckled and more, and it spreads more on the yarn, because some of these other colors might be and remain more like speckly where we place them. And yes, please like the video, give it a thumbs up, and make sure you're subscribed. And yes, I'm going to stand up. So let's go to this guy. All right, so I have pulled, well, I've pulled more, but I have 5 different colors that I've pulled immediately. Emerald green, which now I'm wondering if it might feel a little bit blue, but I have another green as well. I also have, just off camera, sour apple. And so I might use both of those because the sour apple is more of like a bright yellow green. Where's my, actually, let's pull this out. Documents. Color swatches. Okay, and the hilarious thing here is that I totally named Jacquard's crocodile green to alligator green. That's totally on me. But the emerald green, actually, sour apple might just be better. Sour apple might just be better all around. We'll see how it goes, and if we want to bring in emerald green instead. But I think I'm going to swap for sour apple. I think that that might just be a better kind of match. Well, great. Great. And then, yeah, so we'll go ahead and play with some speckles with these colors, and and then we'll probably do one other type of colorway. Now, I have 2 yarn bases today. My 2 standards. Which should I dye speckled? DK sock. Okay, and I'll make a poll for this because I have 4 skeins of Swish DK pre-soaking, which is 100% superwash merino wool, and I have 4 skeins of Stroll fingering weight yarn pre-soaking as well. And so, which is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon fingering weight. And so they, in general, dye pretty similarly, but we have both available. And then while you're voting, I can remind you all that the Spring Mini Skein mini-series, the yarn is ready to ship. And I did well this year, so we still have some sock blanks, full-size add-on skeins, and yarn mops. So of all these, the mini skein set will be labeled, the Spring Mini Skein mini-series will be a weekly night of videos where every night there'll be a new video, and I'll feature a different kind of fade or mini skein set in each of those dyeing videos. And so you get to pick a yarn base, and you get yarn from one of the nights with the mystery set. And the sock blanks and yarn mops are also dyed in those main 5 videos. The add-on full skein is dyed in a 6th video. And yeah, and then there'll be a vlog at the end where I talk just about stuff I couldn't share along the way. Because I was trying to keep it spoiler free. I did show a spoiler at the end of the last Dye Along recap, and later on in this video I'll share a spoiler. The same one that I shared before, but I'll share a spoiler. And what was I going to say? So those are ready to ship. The series starts June 5th. And in general, I do my best to make sure that you get a different yarn mop or sock blank from different nights as your main set. But as stock gets lower, that may or may not be possible, because it's possible that the only sock blanks I have left are the same night as the mini skein set you got from that night. So I will do my best. But yeah, it's why like when people had multiple things, I shipped those first so that way I could like try to spread things out. You open your yarn? Awesome. Yeah, it's funny how grass greens are yellow to find. All right, the DK seems to be the favorite, but what was I going to do? I think I'm going to go and, there we go. I'm going to go and add a bunch of vinegar to, oh my goodness. Okay, so we'll have emerald green in case we need it. We'll bring in sour apple. So I've got sour apple, cayenne red, tangelo. Both of these are kind of for the poppies because it is a very more orange leaning red, but I like the idea of doing red and orange. Some sapphire blue and some pink orchid. I do also have deep magenta here in case I feel like I want a different pink from the pink orchid. But into my pre-soak, I'm just going to dump a lot of vinegar into that 5-gallon bucket. So that way we have the acid we need in the yarn. And I'm also going to set up my steamer basket. There we go. While letting the pole go. So let's see. If you were me, I would be here. And where's the lid for this guy? So one thing sour apple does have in common with emerald green is both of those tend to spread. I discovered that in, I guess, one of my shoebox things that I did once. Okay. Getting the steamer basket set up. And we'll see, it looks like DK, yeah. Okay, not as far runaway, but DK is our winner, and so that's the one I'll pull out. Red and orange isn't bad because the buds look more red and a couple of the blooms look more orange. Absolutely, absolutely. If I make this bigger, come on. Yeah, it feels more orange, like towards the front. Not that you can see my mouse. And then, yeah, some of them, I mean, some are more orange, some are more red. Some of it could be from fading, actually, from like sun exposure. Sometimes colors do that. Hydrangeas absolutely do that. Okay. I'm going to put this over here so I can still see chat. Oh, phone. Yes. I want to take a picture of the colors that I'm planning on using because that way I have that, and oh my, I made a mess. I over splashed with my 5-gallon bucket. This is why I usually put the buckets on top of a brown paper bag, but okay. Grabbing a picture for the recap that is going, and oh wow, that's awesome that you peeked. Okay, I need a pan. Where is my pan? Okay, we're going to put a yarn mop in here. Let's find our DK friends. Nope, one of you is not DK. Which one of you is not like the other? There we go. Ironically, Swish DK is a slightly different color compared to Stroll. Oh no. Which is not something I always notice, but right now I can see Stroll is a hair whiter and it's a little bit more, not ivory, like off-white. And I don't know if that's the nylon. I have no idea if these are milled at the same place, even if the merino is the same source, the superwash merino. But okay, this will be our yarn mop. And I will say this is a small spoiler for the Spring Mini Skein mini series, but the theme overall is video games, or the inspiration for colors and stuff. And so that's something that I am very, very into, the Pokemon series. And that's not funny that it's like not something that I talk about as much, but I was excited to help. I was excited to do it. My kids were excited to help out a little bit as well. Okay, I'm now going to put on my respirator mask, safety glasses, and gloves, which means that my voice will become more muffled in a moment. Does anyone, I love that this heart is here, but you can't see the bottom chat. Does anyone have nylon? Hi. Does anyone have just plain nylon? We will dye that other yarn, assuming I have time. But I'm not expecting this to take a very long time. Okay, so what's funny, and sometimes when I look at flower pictures, I ignore the green and focus on the flowers. Today, the thing that I primarily saw and felt was the green, and the flowers felt like accents to me. And so that is actually really entertaining to me. So I'm going to do a lot of sour apple, just kind of all over, and these are chunky-ish speckles. We don't need them to be like super small or super fine. But yeah, I mean, this is maybe a hair too yellow, but I think that the emerald would have been too blue, so I'm here for it. Plus, I think this is going to be more different from some other yarn that I do have in my in my shop. Okay, and so what I think, as I move one of my own hairs away, I want to do now is, so the blue is very, very minor. So on each side, I'm probably just going to do like one with maybe one extra little dot of blue. I keep forgetting that I'm not going to be, I don't know why my mindset is doing this, but I feel like I'm going to be dyeing like 20 rounds or something, so I'm like prepping this to be reproducible. But I used a little bit of blue. Okay, and now, the blue is really just an accent. Let's go in with the pink. I adore pink orchid so much. It does strike pretty quickly compared to just some other colors in general. Oh good, I'm glad I picked that one. Because deep magenta is so pigmented that sometimes it feels like a deeper pink, even though it can be a bright pink. And I think the Tangelo and the Cayenne Red are going to feel very similar to one another, which is good. That's kind of what I want. We want that very orangey red feel in here. But I also don't want it to feel Christmas. Oh, Tangelo. I mean, we almost could have just used Tangelo. Oh, I got a random ad. I'm going to skip it.
because I want to see what's happening. Okay. I have no problem if you press the like skip on add. Okay, I'm seeing more of the orange there as that spreads out. And I haven't speckled a ton with cayenne red yet. So I'm not quite sure what to expect here, but it is a more orange leaning red. It's like a very warm red. And yes, I'm doing some lines, but I'm also doing some little dots. With the exception of the little like pop of blue, some of this is reminding me of a fruit salad colorway I did, like a tropical fruit salad, which is a very fun one. Did I catch the exclusive Pokemon I was hunting the other day? I forget which day now, because there was like a limited event, and no, I didn't. I wasn't able to do that because we had a family event. But I'm now blanking on which day. Yes, maybe there was one that came out. So like, did I do a weekend? There was a weekend day, I think, where I streamed in the morning, and so that one, yes, Lucas and I went and caught. But now I don't remember. Oh man. I was telling Lucas, I was like, you know, when we go to the UK this summer, there's going to be some regional guys that we'll be able to get for the first time. Oh, Signature was saying you were talking about why one was lighter in color. It's probably the nylon. Yeah, that's likely my guess as well. All right, so we're going all over with our sour apple. I'm very curious to feel what this colorway, like what kind of color this colorway will feel like in the end. But yeah, when I was looking at this, I'm like, ooh, this is like a green yarn. And so, but there's a lot of other colors in here too, but it's just funny how sometimes with floral things, I ignore the green, and other times I want the green to be like the star. But that's something that's hard, because I pick a lot of nature photos for these dialogues, and so we have a lot of birds, flowers, animals, and things like that. And so when you have nature photography, you're very, very likely to end up with like a lot of green. You know, that's just what's going to happen. And I am totally fine if this does not feel super speckly in the end. Like, I'm seeing a lot of spread of some colors. Added a little bit more blue. That's fine. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it feeling impressionistic, you know? Because that's something else that flowers make me think of. Okay, let's do pink. And so I'm not trying to worry about what was located on other layers. We're just going for this. Just chunky specks today. And then, of course, rubbing our fingers on the yarn moth, which actually we might do like some kind of, okay, but that's harder. I have an idea, actually, of what we might do on the stroll, which will bring us something more like this, because I'm loving this. But I'll have to think about how we're going to achieve it still. Because I would love to get some just like bigger patches of color and not worrying if there's some white left in there. So I'm really enjoying this boldness that we have here in our mop. How are we doing? Very good. Okay. The red. Because I think that this is just going to be a two-flip kind of colorway. Like, I think we've got really good coverage overall here. And I'm really also really liking the current status of this yarn mop. And so I think we'll use something else to clean up the counter. But I do want to, I think, take a picture really quick. So I'm going to wash and dry my gloves. Okay, yes, steamer basket, you are nice and steamy. That is great. Because it's fun sometimes to get a picture of how things look before we steam it, and then after we have steamed it. Because if these dyes spread a lot, then that's going to be really cool. But it also could stay more speckly. It just depends on those colors. But sort of trying to wrap this up. Okay, you know what? I am going to use this yarn mop on our counter. I debated not, but because we're going to like be smearing things together a bit, but that's okay. I think that we're going to go for something that looks like this yarn mop on our stroll. And I knew as soon as I started coming and wiping up the colors that things were going to blend. And so it wasn't going to be as clean as it was at first. But I'm going to set a timer in a moment. And we're going to set this aside to wait for the steamer basket, and I'll take a picture of this. We're going to wipe down the counter, and today we got a lot of that dye. There's still like a little bit you can see here on the paper towel, but most of the dye did go in the yarn. Okay, gloves off. We're going to wash hands. Okay. Okay, let me see. Oh, picture. It's very, the mop is very pretty, but we definitely dirtied things up. Hello. Let me see if I can get you a zoomed. Oh, that's going to take a minute. It's going to upload them. Zoomed in picture. It's going to be very Monet Van Gogh. Yes, that's kind of the goal and the feeling of what I saw. Because especially if you look, the mirror flip is hard. Especially if you look at and like squint at it and see the dots of color. Like the blue makes very little impact in there, but you can really feel all those other colors, and the green has such a big moment. Oh, Beth. Okay, from the old game. Yes, I did. I did not trade it with my brother yet because he hasn't been available, and I'm having to return that version to the library. But yes, I did. I did do a speed run, and I finished, and I caught the legendary. So when Pokemon Home comes out, which it's another app on the Nintendo where you can like kind of store Pokemon from like all your different games, then I'll be able to transfer it to myself. So that is embarrassing. I'm trying to look and see if these pictures, oh my gosh.
Google Photos is recommending some things from like college. Oh my gosh. It's like 18 years ago. All kinds of stuff. Oh my gosh. Okay, I think that these should be uploaded now. Will it do? Nope. Nope, I don't want it to do it that way. Save image as. It was like gonna just put in a URL. I'm like, can I drag and drop? Okay, here is a low res version. Here we go. But it's more, this is more zoomed in than what you guys could see probably from the webcam. And so this isn't showing a ton of the pink. There's a little bit of the pink in there, but you can really see like all those different colors all together. And so what I am hoping to go for as I download this. Nope, that is not the right one. This is the right one. I'm thinking I want to go for something like this, but obviously with a little bit more green and a little bit less blue. Very random, but very like more blown out and patchy. I think that that's what I would like to do on our stroll. And so kind of try a yarn mop on purpose kind of thing. The part of that was making me hesitate is that I don't think I'm going to quite do yarn mop on purpose. Literally, I think I'm going to take dye powder and sort of like drop a tiny bit, but in more patch versus like speckled lines. And then I'm going to sort of smooth it out on the yarn where I've placed it. Because otherwise, I'd go in, get dye in my hands, touch the yarn, go have to like yarn mop and dry them, and then go and do that again and again. And so a lot of times in that situation, I like to take powder out, especially if I'm doing a lot, because then if the powder gets a little bit wet that I'm using over and over, that's fine. But I don't want to do that today, so I think we'll try it this way and see if it kind of works. Oh, I'm glad you could jump in, and I'm sorry that you've been sick playing with string. Yeah, so, because I remember it must have been the Summer Mini Skein mini-series from 2021. I think I did, like, I was going for, like, Overgrown Vine, and so I think I did mostly, I don't know if it was emerald green, and then pops of, like, delphinium blue, and a few other pastels. And so those really were very minor points, but I was so confused why the green wasn't staying as speckles, why it spread so much. And I was like, is there too much water in my skeins? What am I doing? I think it's because emerald green is a color that just spreads. And I think that that was something that I didn't appreciate. So I know that like there's some colors that work great when you try to speckle low immersion. I was doing countertop speckles there, which is why I was surprised. But there's some colors that work great low immersion. And others, when you add, they will spread and overtake, if there's too much water, a lot of else of what you have going on. And so some of that is something that you learn from just trial and error. Because then there's other colors like pink orchid or frozen where they don't spread. And so sometimes you want the color to spread more, but you add them and then you go to try to move it around and it's already struck. So there's like a big balance in it. And some of it depends on also which colors are very, very pigmented, and then which colors are maybe have a little bit less pigment, and so that little amount that's there can strike in one spot easier. I mean, I don't know. I can hypothesize, right? But welcome to the live stream. Welcome. Thank you all so much for being here. Subscribing is the biggest way you can help support the content here. And so thank you all very, very much. Okay. You know what I'm going to do right now while I'm thinking about it? Will I be able to do this? So if you're just tuning in, I totally messed up. And Yeah. Okay, I can reuse those settings. And this is supposed to be tomorrow. Visibility unlisted. At what time? 9 a.m. I accidentally started streaming on the wrong link. Done. Good news is I can just make a new stream for tomorrow, and that's not a problem. Share, copy. Okay, let's see what happens if I try to edit my Patreon post. So this is for wool, silk, and alpaca patrons. Okay, I am updating the link. Why did that not work? Let's try this. Okay, well, it's not showing that. Okay, let me see. Update. I accidentally went live on the for the die-along. Here is the new link. Let me double check that this link works. Okay, but why does it not have a thumbnail? Oh dear. Close, edit. Did not keep the thumbnail, that's why. Let's do. Thank you all for being patient while I deal with my little snafu, especially because we're waiting for things. This is a true, like, behind the scenes moment of what I do. Can I find that same picture I used? Probably not. Oh yeah, that's pretty close. Okay. Save. Now, if I do this, will I see the picture? Nope. Why not? Okay. Wait, I thought I saw it. Okay, cool, it's there. Awesome. Here's the new link. Confirm. Let's see, if I save this. Okay, that did not notify patrons. Well, let me see what else I can do. Studio. Content. I will try to send a new post tonight. But I think it might be obvious if you go to this link and... Wait, is that the new one or the old one? Oh, that's the upcoming. This is the one. Go to new link. I can rename that. No, we don't need to hear the ad. Oh, I can't even change the chat. Okay. Go to the new link here. This one for mine. And I will edit the video and post that in there too. Thank you, everyone, for letting me do this, because with baseball and all these other graduation events and everything going on, things have been hectic. And so hopefully that will help things. Yay! Okay. And it's like Rebecca does maintenance work. But yeah, I think that my idea will work, and we can spread the colors and have something really, really fun and pretty. I think we should wait a tiny bit. I've not wordled today, and if I did, I would not spoil that anyway. I was getting notifications, and I think it is just my Wordle chat. Does everyone else have Wordle chats with their friends? Dedicated Wordle channel? Okay, there's about 16 minutes left. Ooh, the colors have spread. That's great. I'm going to set up my other steamer basket as well because now we have just enough stuff going on. Of course, I can bring you to here. Okay, other pot. Because sometimes if I can get away with just one steamer basket, I like to do that because then I don't have to wash as many dishes. Oh, found it. I've been playing with blacklight blue so much recently that part of me did not want to do it in the stream because I don't want you guys to get sick of it, but I'm having so much fun with it. I think the first look video will come out sometime very soon. And then, so that'll be my first impressions of all the new jacquard colors, not just blacklight blue. And then, what's the other thing? My experimentation dip dyeing it. And actually, I can share, I don't know if I have good photos. I don't have photos. But I can share some info and some updates. Because, all right, one thing I did in the live stream, I did a 4% depth of shade. I realized of blacklight blue, the fluorescent blue acid dye from jacquard, I realized that it felt drier. Like when I took it out, so you know when you wash your hair with like a clarifying shampoo and it feels like almost squeaky, you know, until you put conditioner or something on it? It almost reminded me of that. It felt, even though it was saturated, it felt drier and like oils had been stripped. Once it was dry, once the yarn was dry, it didn't have that same, oh my gosh, this feels like really dry or really weird feel. It felt better, maybe a hair drier and maybe a hair less soft than some others. Not bad though, not as bad as I was concerned about, but I probably still would not use blacklight blue at a 4% depth of shade because also the color wasn't that bright still. The blue wasn't that bright. Wordle thread on a message word, awesome. So I then played around with a 1% depth of shade of blacklight blue, and I dip dyed it into jacquard's turquoise. And it was still fluorescent everywhere. It's just, it was a lot less fluorescent the more turquoise you added, because like those other pigments in there were sort of overpowering, and jacquard had told me that it's about the ratio of that colorless acid dye pigment mixed with blue. So if you add more blue, you're going to diminish the fluorescent glow that you see under a black light. But it did still glow, especially towards the like lighter end. And so I have a rainbow that I played with coming out, and under natural light, the blue with blacklight blue and turquoise mixed together, it looks great. It ties everything in. It does glow, but compared to the other colors, you don't really see it. And so I think that that is why blacklight blue is mixed with the ratios it is, so that way it still can kind of stand up to the other fluorescent colors. And so I wanted to point that out because that felt important. I know, Leah, I thought about that too. I was like, well, flowers all have the like UV like stripes, right? For like insects and butterflies to see. I considered that, but sticking with non-fluorescent colors today. And so the other interesting thing was that when I dip dyed the tonal blacklight blue into hot fuchsia, which is the fluorescent pink, there was still fluorescence, but the fluorescence felt muddier, I guess is the best way to describe it. And so you didn't completely lose all fluorescence from blending them, but if you imagined adding two fluorescent colors together, you might expect to get something that was even brighter. And so the fluorescence definitely was dimmer and like went down the more like pink that you had in there. And so it was reduced. And so that was interesting. I thought that was pretty interesting. So it wasn't gone completely. It wasn't like, oh, that's all of a sudden a dark spot. I'm sure that's about proportion. But Jagard did tell me that the pink and red compounds, dyes, do tend to like kill the fluorescence of that colorless one. So, oh yay, I'm glad you love my videos. Thank you. I'm glad I can help. But yeah, so that is a tiny update on all of that. And now, yeah, let's go down again. But so when that video comes out with the 4% and everything, that's going to be one big video. I don't know when that'll come out. I haven't edited that yet. Hopefully soonish. All right, this one's going to be our yarn mop. There's still some dye in there. That's okay. Because, you know, for a yarn mop technique, we need a yarn mop, right? Okay, so I think this time I want to go about, oh dear, crap. Well, first let's dry our floor. As I dump water onto the floor again. Oh dear. And move the bucket onto the tile and just clean this up. Because we get so many brown paper, like grocery bags, that I try to reuse them as much as I can instead of immediately recycling them. Okay. Wonder which compounds they are to quench the other color. I mean, I think that it likely, I don't know if it's like a fret type process, probably not, but my guess is that the pink or the blue, they might be absorbing the color the other emits, and so yeah, it's just making it so that way like it's diminishing both of them. Okay, so this yarn also pre-soaked in vinegar, and it is a little bit wet, which given that we want to spread things out a little bit, that isn't a bad thing. So I'm going to go put my respirator mask back on, we'll put the gloves back on, and get started. How much time is on the timer? Okay, we've got 8 minutes on the timer.
I think that's a good length of time. Now, annoyingly, on my iPad, there's like a, ooh, use this emoji button that like hides part of the most recent comment, which I don't know how to fix that on my laptop. On my iPad. Okay, we're going to do the green last. And that's because I want to see what we kind of do with these other colors. And so what I'm going to do is bring in like a good clump of dye. And then we are kind of going to work it in a little bit. And do this in a, it's less yarn mop because the things are less wiped than I might ordinarily do with a mop. But it's going to give something different. And who knows, maybe we'll speckle the sour apple around these. Maybe that's what we'll decide we want to do. I have not yet decided, but so the pink orchid, and there is going to be an asymmetry to this. Let's do like one more. There's absolutely going to be an asymmetry to this because the color placement, and I'm trying to go a little bit fast because I know this color can strike quickly. Because, you know, it's not going to be the same on all of these skeins. And so it is going to be also probably more pigment on the top than on some lower skeins. We might end up with some speckles in here. But the goal is to have something that feels a little bit more yarn moppy, a little bit more random, and plus then we'll ultimately get more coverage of colors a little bit faster. But I don't think, part of me was initially thinking, oh, it would be fun to do green speckles around this. I think if I wanted to do things that way, I would do these splotched blossoms, and then I'd want to steam set it first. You know, because I would want to, the reason for wanting to steam set it before doing green speckles all over is that if I didn't steam set it, then when we went to the other side to like do this kind of like tap, tap, tap that I'm doing, we tap out those speckles that we've added. And so I think that I'll probably do green patches, but ooh, maybe I should make another poll and see. But I can also peek and see at what the sour apple speckles are doing. I'll go peek in the steamer basket and see. But I don't think I mind just having the green be like patchy. You know, I think I'm going to stick with my vision that we have here and not do the green as speckles. Oh, I'll do the red and then I'll move where the thumbnail is. Okay. We're going to need to go. Yeah, I hear you, basket. Oh dear. Uh-oh. Over squirt alert, over squirt alert. Okay, very rarely do I get dye on my floor. Thankfully, it was a tiny amount, and I saw it right away, so I could clean it up. So that was not bad. Okay, I want to finish tapping these out now. I like how the Tangelo has some different colors sort of near the center, and that's really, really cool. Okay, I might add a little bit more red on top of some of those reds, but let me quickly move this thumbnail. This is one of the few channels that use hypothesis when appropriate. No, but I don't know if that's an idea I can test. I mean, in theory, we could. Oh. Oh, I love the hypothesis chat in the chat. Yeah, I mean, I think that I know Jacquard does, and like a lot of these companies do say, like what their dye compounds are, but I will admit it has probably been about a decade since I talked about and learned about fret, and that wasn't something that I ever used. I definitely have used like GFP and stuff, and so green fluorescent protein, and I've definitely cloned with that and done some work with that, but that was during a rotation, not my main research. So that isn't something that I have as much experience with overall. fluorescence, when I was in grad school, fluorescence was like the height of cool. All right, now we're going to come in with our green, and we're going to add some more patches of it compared to some of these other colors. But it also doesn't have to be like all over. We will flip the yarn, and I think the colors that we're going to add on the other side and stuff will shift. Like, we'll try to put things kind of where they were already, if that makes any sense. So, like, we'll try to put blue on top of blue and things like that. So we can always add, like, more green. I definitely went a little bit lighter than I could have. Okay, I hear you, basket, but you're going to have to wait. Gotta let me squish. This is fun. This is like a newer thing. I mean, what's funny, okay. It is and it isn't. Okay, I'm going to set a timer for 15 minutes for the second basket. I was going to say, this is a newer kind of technique for me. Which it is, but it also isn't. Because when I'm swatching colors, this is what I do. Okay, so but now we're going to take our yarn, flip it over. And so now you can see how there's a little bit, and it does not need to be perfect, but we have a little bit of a template of where our colors are. And so that way we can avoid doing some things like adding orange on top of the blue, which might happen still, but this is gonna just be a little bit of a guide for us. Did I really only have like one blue spot? Maybe. Okay, that's fine. But, you know, some of these colors might blend together. Oh, I didn't take a picture. Oh well. I feel like this is one where the like in progress colors may be a little bit similar to the final colors. And that's okay. There we go. Chem Nerds Unite! Woohoo! I was talking to one of my husband's colleagues, like one of his mentors. So, I mean, not that, not that she's older or anything, but she's a bit older and like more established than him. But she watched some of my videos or something, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so like flattering. I was very flattered that someone who, like, you know, it just shows that there's interest in, like, my husband and our family, right? And so that was very sweet that, like, oh, I didn't need to do that. Oh, well. And one of his mentors was clearly interested in what I was doing. Because sometimes, like, sometimes it's never weird. But sometimes it's weird when, like, people don't know that I also have a PhD. And so this thing happens all the time. We get things addressed to Dr. and Mrs. Brown. So, like, I wouldn't be upset if when things arrive to Professor and Mrs. Brown. That's fine. Professor is a title I do not have. It's not my title. But if you're going to call him Dr. Brown, you should also call me Dr. Brown. So that is something that that feels a little like awkward to me sometimes because I'm like, how do you correct it? Which, like, this isn't an issue that comes up very often or anything remotely like that. But it does happen. And so, you know, it's like just because one of us is, like, in academia still doesn't make my degree any less valid, right? So, I guess if, but I know that, like, it isn't always, like, a sexism thing either. Because, like, there's people that legitimately don't know, right, that I have a PhD. And so, you know, and that's fine. It's just, there's the occasional social thing we get. And then, like, they know I have a PhD too. Like, like, it's same place. Same school even, different programs, but, you know, we both got our PhDs from the same prestigious university, so I'm like, mine matters, mine counts. But it's okay. It doesn't come up like that often. Like, a handful, I think I probably used the orange in a lot of the places where I should have used red, but that's okay. That's a spot where, like, the blending isn't going to create mud. There we go. I think that's probably pretty good. What was I saying? Yeah, it's just a handful of, like, Christmas cards and stuff, but I'm always just like, but me too! I'm Dr. Brown. Although I will say, I have never published anything as Dr. Brown. All my publications are under my maiden name. But if I wasn't going to change my, well, if I was going to stay in academia, and at that point we knew I wasn't, then I probably would have legally changed my name to be like a two, not hyphenated, but like a two-word last name. I think I would have done Rebecca Rausch Brown, which is sometimes what I use actually for ChemKnits stuff, because Brown is such a common last name, and I know there's even, I think there's like a jewelry artist, Rebecca Brown, and so it's so common that if you search for Rebecca Brown, you don't necessarily find me that fast. So sometimes I use my maiden name still in there, just so that way people can find me. Your best friend at the wedding announced themselves as Dr. and Mr. Nice. Doc Brown X2. Oh man. You know, I don't think we have a Doc Brown Lego. And like we collect a lot of Legos. That's one that like we definitely need. But yeah, we like Back to the Future. Oh man. But yeah, it's funny. But I knew, like, before life took me down my artistic path, I knew that I didn't want to become like a research professor. So that was something we had decided. But I did start ChemKnits back in grad school. And so that's where all of this began. I started it, well actually we were on a ski trip. And I wasn't skiing that day, so I was bored. So I started a blog because I wanted to find ear flap hat knitting patterns. And I was making this list and keeping track of all these notes, and I was like, maybe someone else would find this useful. So I started a blog, and then ChemKnits was born. It was a New Year's ski trip. And I think I must have one day of skiing. Ooh. I will say that this is so pretty. I'm going to go put this in the steamer basket. Woo! No drips, great. There might be some color transfer, but that's fine. This did exactly what I wanted it to do. So I'm very happy there. All right, we have a little bit of dye left here. Our mop from the mops, which really, I should call this one more of like a swatching technique versus like a mop, a yarn mop technique. So I think that more accurately reflects what it was I was doing, but I love it. Love it, love it. Okay. Now, I do reuse gloves a lot. These ones I'm declaring done, though.
But yeah, our speckled yarn is so pretty and impressionistic. It is awesome, and I'm thrilled with it. The colors spread like I wanted them to do. We still have some speckles. Ooh. It's funny because I love the second one we did as well. I love how that turned out, but I think the first one is possibly my favorite. I'm gonna have to wash this. I'm so lucky how little dye ends up on my floor. Oh my gosh. But I am gonna put the dyes in my storage container. I store dyes in these IKEA soccer bit containers. They fit 2 levels. And then I have, sometimes they're more organized, but other times I move all the colors I want to have access to for that day of filming all into one bin and just bring one down versus bringing them all downstairs. And that is how I do that. Okay, I'm gonna wash this down. I'm so glad I pivoted. I'm so glad, and I'm really happy because, like, I will admit that a lot of times when I'm filming, when it's time for me to film a new dyeing video, sometimes I have an idea that is specifically about the colors I want to use. Other times I have an idea and I have to then pick colors. And so sometimes lab partners have like requests for like, you know, oh, can you do something that is like purplish or whatever? And so like I can try to do that. But in general, most lab partners tell me colors to avoid. And so then like I have some free reign over what it is I want to do. And so I try. I really do try. I really do. It really is a goal. I try to avoid using the same colors over and over again, but that does end up happening sometimes. But so what I do is I come to my shop, and so if I'm going to dye something DK, I'll say, okay, well, what do I currently have available? Sometimes I'll go to the actual bins themselves. The bins where I store all the DK weight yarn. And then I might look through there and be like, ooh, okay, we have a lot of pastels left, but you know, like, guess what color I dye most often that we don't see? We don't have a lot of purple because we only have some, but purple sells. So the purple does not stay in stock as long. But right now we have a lot of blue because I went and I tried to do more blue things because we were low on more saturated blues. And I think we don't have a lot of like dark colors. So I'm like, ooh, if I wanted to do something in like with blacks, then like maybe I'd pull some of that in. Clearly we also don't have a lot of reds. You know, we have a lot of like pinks and greens and pale blues left. So I then try to go and pick colors based on things I don't have in stock. And the same with the fingering weight. We did have some greens. I do have a bunch of greens, but I was like hoping to end up with something that felt different from some of those others that we have. This is one of the ones, this was a yarn mop, and this I think was the colorway I was talking about from the past summer mini skate mini series. But yeah, I look through and then go, okay, we have like, you know, there's a lot of green, maybe we don't need more green, or there's a lot of blue, maybe I don't need that, I should try something else. So those are the things I try to balance while I'm planning videos. But even so, like, it can then be, okay, good, it's not going to autoplay. It can be when looking at the channel, if you go and look at all the videos, like, I do try to mix it up so we have different colors on the thumbnails. But sometimes we'll have a lot that are like green and purple because I have leftovers from a color challenge maybe that I did that. Or I had dyes mixed from a guar gum project, and so then I had all of those to use up. So sometimes it ends up that I have, you know, that's the green and purple again. Sometimes I end up with a lot of the same color left over. And so then if I have those dyes mixed, I'm trying to film more videos with it. And so that's why, like, it can end up with like a lot of the same things over and over. So then sometimes I try to use these dye-alongs to like do something that I haven't done in a while. Like when I picked daffodils, I'm like, let's lean into the yellow. We need yellow, right? And so that's what I did there. The one that came out of the steamer is so Monet. Okay, we've got the yarn mop from our first basket. I'm happy that it came out so Monet. That's what I wanted. But it's hard, like sometimes we have a lot of similar ideas for the same project, and that's a reason why I really do enjoy doing these dye-alongs, because I try to do a few different things at least. And even if I go in a completely different direction, I think that we created two things that are like somewhat similar in the feelings they evoke. But I enjoy the process of sometimes letting what I see with the colors speak to me and having that edit what I do. I'm just wiping down the counter again. I will probably spray it with a cleaner because there's a bit of residue. I like the, for some reason, using the, like, 7th generation bathroom cleaner. This is a shower curtain, right? And so I like using that. And actually, I mean, I know it's riveting television to watch me clean the counter, but I may as well bring you over. But I find that that does, like, a pretty good job. And then it also, like, I think you don't want to like mix bleach with vinegar or something. I never use bleach anyway. Although one thing I do want to do, and maybe I'll finally do it this summer, I've never tie-dyed with bleach. And I think that that looks really, really fun. But I'm like terrified of bleach, not because of like dangers, but because when I used bleach a lot in a lab that I worked in college, I like got bleach spots on my favorite jacket. And so that is my fear of it, is that I'm like, I don't want to bleach things that I care about. But that is something that I'm interested in doing. So I think that that is something that maybe I'll film this summer. It's funny because like one of my best performing videos on the channel is a tie-dye video, but I'm not like a tie-dye expert in the way that like there are some content creators that create like that are like master level when it comes to creating designs out of tie-dye, and so mine is much more like summer camp vibe kind of level. But I certainly enjoy watching the other stuff on like TikTok or whatever. Okay, I can sit down now. And chat, please leave any questions that you have, because I can hang out for a bit and answer. Let's see. Oh, it's fun to tell you when I do. Yay! That's fun. When you were little, people would ask you what your parents did, and you would deliberately say, one is a doctor and one's a teacher, and they would say, isn't it nice that your dad's a doctor? Yeah, assumptions. But yeah, it's oh gosh, lately Ryder has been saying that art is his favorite class, and it's because like also like their school's art teacher is like state level award winning, is like absolutely incredible, nicest human on the planet. I love her. But he's like, art is my favorite class, and he loves her because she reminds him of me, and like, I don't know, that makes me so happy. Ooh, you've been thinking about knitting a circular shawl and tie-dye it? That would be really cool. I once dyed a shawl. The plan, like the person who knit the shawl wasn't necessarily a huge fan of it, so the thought was, okay, I can dye it as a blank and then unravel it. Unfortunately, the yarn did not unravel very well at all. And so if I had known it was going to stay as a shawl, I would have picked a different kind of technique than what I picked. So, but I think it would be really, really fun. You like the yellow dye-along? That one was so, the colors are so fun. Those will be listed in the shop soon. Like, it's been a while since I've done a shop update, but I also, to be fair to myself, there's like little rocks all over my house. To be fair to myself, I hadn't edited that until like right before I posted it. So normally what I do is once the dye-along yarn is dry, then I try to film the recap, leaving space to add submissions in. Then I edit it and have it ready to go with the exception of the submissions. And so then at that point, I feel okay listing the yarn. Because otherwise, I never list yarn unless the video has been edited and is, even if it's not officially scheduled, it's edited and uploaded to YouTube. Because should something happen, or like should I be missing some footage, then I have the yarn to still like in my possession, right? I haven't sold it yet. And so that's something that I try to do. And so then, yeah, if I get like behind with editing, then like, oh goodness. Goodness me, goodness gracious. So that can happen. But, oh, you know what I need to do? Shoot. Community. So I want to do, okay, I'll just leave that there so hopefully I remember. Then I need to update the ChemKnits post docs also of the new behind the scenes live stream link. But that is otherwise a Patreon perk, which I will drop in. But yeah, I can't believe, because it's this is where I need to remember. It's like, it's the next badge for 12 months. I really had channel memberships for almost a year. I must have if Beth shared their 11-month anniversary. Oh, of course, I won't see it from here. I have to go do studio. Okay. I was like, I can't look. Supers, memberships, view. Yay! Membership levels. Where can I edit the badges? Why can't I edit the badges? Customize. Default perks. There we go. Oh no! There's a 24-month one. Okay. So I've got the different like badges that the members are for new members, 1 month, 2 month, 6 month, then 12 month, and then 24 month. And so those are two we haven't seen yet because it hasn't been possible. But yeah, if I need to see about making a new emote and then like sort of cycling some out sometimes. But yes, I'm getting like excited and ahead of myself. But yeah, thank you all for joining me today. I know this is a shorter one, but I'm hoping to do some editing today because I would like to get more things done. But yeah, this week my in-laws are in town from London. Friends are in town from Portland, Oregon, and so like we've just like been seeing lots of people, which is great. YouTube is seriously pushing the ads today. Yeah, I tried a different setting, and I think I'm going to not use that setting again. Because I didn't know how often they would do it. And so there was like a new default setting, which I didn't turn off, and I'm like, okay, well, we'll see how this goes. I guess I was thinking if they automatically placed ads, it would happen in the replay, not during the stream itself. And so I think I will make sure to disable that going forward. Because yeah, I've noticed a few myself, and normally like maybe every like 30 minutes or an hour when I'm streaming, I would manually put one in. But I mean, we'll also see what this does for this does for the revenue from the video, I suppose. But yeah, I will probably turn that off because I like to try to put the ads in a less disruptive place. Because in a live stream, what I don't know is after the ad is placed, does it bring you to like the current, most up-to-date thing? Or does it put you back to like the last thing that was said? So like, do you miss something? So that I don't know. Indy's doing much better. I put him up on the 3rd floor today because, yes, I was like, I don't feel like dealing with your barking, and it's garbage day, and so he would be barking a lot. But he's doing much better. We removed his ranch, as we called it. A few weeks ago, Indy got, if people don't know, Indy is my dog. And he got very sick a few weeks ago, and so we ended up, we didn't want to like have him just stay in his crate, so we made a modified, like more bigger but confined area, so that way he could still have access to like his other bed and not just the crate, but then have his water there. But then he wouldn't be on top of carpets and stuff like that for when he was getting sick. And so we used like this big, I now want to see if I can find it. Because I wonder, this thing was amazing. Okay, so this isn't quite it. Actually, this might be it. It is very, very similar. So you have all these panels, and I think we have 8 panels. And so we used it either open to block access to like a Christmas tree or the like TV or shelves. Or with Lucas, he was fine. We made like a big like playpen because in that one apartment we lived in, it was the easiest way to like baby-proof things. So that way there was something safe for him to be if like, and he didn't mind playing in there, and we had all of his toys and stuff in there, and there was plenty of space for us to go in and lay down and play with him. Ryder hated it, so we didn't use it for him. But we kept it, and so we zip tied one end of it to his crate, to either end of his crate, and then we could open it and go in and out, or like lift it to let him in and out. So it gave him this like little fenced-in yard where we knew he wasn't going to be throwing up on all the carpets. So that worked. That worked really, really well. Especially because, I mean, that wasn't something new we bought. We had that anyway. But I imagine that is something that could work well, like with like a puppy or something, when you're just like training them and you don't want them to like get into all the gardens or something yet. But to have some like outside time where you're not worried. I don't know. You miss a bit with those ads. Okay, See, that's why I try to do it when I do an intermission, like if I'm going to go like eat something or something. So I'll try to go back to that. I'll see. I should be able still to disable it. Sometimes we can. Other times, then there's a chance that it could be pushed in as like something that has to happen when videos are monetized. So we'll see. But for now, I should be able to turn that off, and I can change. I'll make sure. I'll see if I can default. Well, if I turn it off, then I can, in one new stream, then if I reuse those settings, then it should still be off. So I can try that. Your phone pauses the stream and you only have to watch play. Oh, interesting. Hi, Mary. Welcome. I am live right now, but I will be heading out soonish. Wednesdays are a short day of school for the kids, and so I'm glad that I was able to do this today because, yeah, this week is super hectic. Super hectic. Wonderful, but super, super hectic. But we had sushi last night, and that was fun. But, oh my gosh, we made a big mistake. So we went to this, it was a restaurant we hadn't been to before. And we're with like a big group. There were 10 of us. But with my 2 kids were the only kids, probably the only kids in the whole restaurant. But they were super nice to the kids. We brought our own little, we have these little trainers that you can put on chopsticks that helps the kids. It keeps them together and almost acts like a little spring. So it makes it easier for them to use the chopsticks, which works great. We brought our own, but they gave us some more to take home, which was nice. But we just ordered them each some maki rolls. We didn't order them like an appetizer because it was a small menu and most of the appetizers were probably a little bit spicy and we didn't think to do that. Well, the poor kids were like, you know, then it took 45 or so minutes for their food to come, and Ryder was saying, "I'm going to die." He was so hungry. Anyway, their behavior was fine, but then the food finally comes, and it's on these like beautiful boards that are a little bit elevated, so awkward height for kids. And then Ryder wants to move all of his rolls away from the wasabi and the ginger, and then promptly drops 2 of his pieces on the floor, and he was so sad. Like, he didn't cry or make a fuss, but he was just so sad because he was really hungry. Well, our waitress noticed and put in, like, when we were finishing up, she's like, "Hey, I noticed he dropped some, so like the kitchen's making him like another, like making him an extra roll." And that made his day, and like that was so sweet, so sweet of them to do. But yeah, I learned like, okay, we need to plan on appetizers for the kids when, like, because I didn't order an appetizer either. I should have done that too. But anyway. Nah. Oh no, I'll absolutely do like what suits me with the settings, but I care a lot about the viewer experience. Like, I care about your experience, especially when I'm live. Like, I don't want you guys to miss things. And so, like, things change, and like I still try to also, at least I know, like, with mid-roll ads and videos, I know that it'll start you like a second or two before where the ad was originally, but I try to, sometimes YouTube does it automatically, I try to move them to where I think they'll be less disruptive, and then sometimes reduce the number YouTube puts in. So yeah, ads are great because they help me have this content available for free. And so it means that, you know, these videos aren't behind a paywall because I get ad revenue. And so that's one little trade-off. But I know that you guys, many of you, support me in so many other ways. But the nice thing about like being on YouTube and having ad revenue is that there are people who, you know, want to dye their own yarn and so don't want to shop with me, which is fine, or people who can't afford to shop with me. And so, you know, being able to enjoy the content and having that be accessible to as many people as possible is something I care a lot about. Now, there is a chance, I don't have anything in the works, there is a chance that maybe someday I would have something behind a paywall if I like do a collaboration with another company or something, depending on the way they do things. But I certainly, yeah, so that could, in theory, happen. But I would never move all my content behind a paywall. I would never want to do that. And yeah, I don't, this isn't like a secret or sneak peek. I don't have anything in the works. But except for the thought that, like, okay, dive into dyeing no longer exists. Like, maybe I should pitch some kind of kit with videos or something to other companies. So I just haven't had the spoons to do that. It's like, someday I should make pitches and like try to do things. So do I still get revenue from watches with YouTube Premium? Yes, I do. Whatever the, what was it you used for YouTube Red, YouTube Premium, they do give some revenue to content creators based on that. So yeah, if you're paying YouTube to have an ad-free experience, yeah, that is totally fine. Don't worry about doing that. That is never something to feel guilty about. Ad blockers, then that's a little bit of thing that's a little harder for me as a content creator to get behind. And I understand like concerns with, you know, people need to, you do things that you need to do for you. But you know, if everybody starts using ad blockers, that makes YouTube revenue go way down, and then that can start to cause a problem for content creators. No ChemKnits OnlyFans? No. It's like, ooh, look at my bare yarn. That's all it would be. I do have a Patreon though. So there's the channel memberships is a way that you can contribute like to me directly, and Patreon is another great platform. I do get a bigger percentage of Patreon revenue than like YouTube channel memberships, but like, you know, and like whatever's easiest for people. Create my own kit. I mean, there might be a kit that I create that is very, very simplistic, but I think it would be hard. It would be hard for me to create a kit that came with acid dyes and yarn, because like without having to majorly upsell things, and I also don't have the space to like order at quantities. Like, I mean, who knows? Like, now that I have like a relationship with Jacquard, who knows if I reached out and been like, hey, I don't know what your minimum order is for wholesale, but I want to create this kit. Can I order from you? Like, I mean, I have a foot in the door. I could ask about that, but in all likelihood, the number of jars I would need to order, like, there would then be a space concern. So, like, the fulfillment and things would be challenging if it was with acid dyes. But I do have other ideas. It'd be the April Fool's dye removal video for all of them. Oh, I feel so bad. I felt so bad because someone watched the April Fool's video and they got dye on their cat, or like, no, like the color from a cat toy got wet. A cat toy got wet and like dyed a bit of their cat. And so they were trying to find ways to remove color. And then they came across my April Fool's Day video. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah. You don't watch TV anymore, you prefer real people on YouTube doing stuff you're interested in. You let the ads play unless they're longer than a minute. Oh yeah, like there's never a problem when like the little like skip ad button comes up. There's no problem clicking the skip ads button. Like, I don't think that that reduces like what my compensation is. I don't believe. There used to be, I think, talk about like, oh, you should watch at least the first however many seconds of the ad. If the skip ad button is up, that is fair game. That is fair game. Skip, you know, press skip. But yeah. Oh! Okay, but now, I don't have a spoiler. Ooh, I might. Let me see if I can find my old spoiler image that is completely out of date. Nope. Nope, that's not what I want. Documents. ChemKnits creations, samplers. What was last year? Not Hanukkah. Nope. Let's see. Let's show all. Aha! I found it! I was like, I know I have something somewhere. Now, spoiler warning, has nothing to do with the theme of this year's Spring Mini Skein mini series. But I am going to share a spoiler now. So, spoiler warning. This will be a spoiler from there we go. This will be a spoiler for the SMSMS yarn. And so I'm going to show the packaging from this, the mini skein set. So this is a set of, there's a set of wrapped 5 mini skeins that are all, and I'm going to show part of that wrapping, not all the extras, just one of the extras, something I've already spoiled. And yeah, there's tons of yarn bases, and I think there's still worsted weight available. Yeah, there's still worsted weight, worsted DK fingering weight yarn. 5 mini skeins all dyed together on one of the nights. It's a lot of fun. Lots of different yarn bases, but I dropped a link in the chat. There's links in the description. But oh, I gotta reach it. It's over here. Okay. So I have used this project bag in the past, and I'm not showing the design yet, so you can still look away if you don't want to have a spoiler. But when you open up the yarn that I mail you, like, this is what you would see. So this is the bag that I'm using for the wrapping. And in case you're curious about like the bag itself, it is a good size, and this is not SMSMS yarn. This is, I guess, a spoiler for another video. But like, it's enough size to have like needles, and 100 grams of yarn fits really, really well in here. Certainly I would be able to fit like probably 2 other yarn cakes in here easily. I think on Black Friday I stuffed bags this size with at least 300 grams of yarn. So they're small bags, but they're handy for putting inside like a larger bag and keeping something all together. But I've mentioned earlier that the theme this year is a video game inspiration. In particular, my favorite video game, Pokemon. And so now I'm about to show the design on the bag. I am so proud of this. I am so unbelievably proud of this. So on the bag, the yarn from my logo, this is the ChemKnits logo. If I swap to, you won't be able to hear me, but if I okay, so if I swap there, you could see the yarn in my flask. I turned that into a Pokeball. And the white does stand up more in person. This is like kind of cream colored, and you can see the white down there. So the yarn is a Pokeball. And the little tagline is "Gotta stash them all." Because, and this is in the Pokemon font, because the theme of Pokemon is gotta catch them all. And so if you're a yarn collector, when this popped into my brain, it made me so happy. My brother is also big into Pokemon. When I showed him this, he like laughed with glee. He's not a yarn person, but thought it was really, really fun. So hopefully if you're not a video game person, this is something you can still enjoy. But if you are like Pokemon, then hopefully you enjoy it as well. So I'm very, very, very proud of it. Oh, yay! The packaging's adorable. You're going to lose at least one of the extras to your 9-year-old. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I think I owe... So I have multiple different... So this is a tiny spoiler. There are progress keepers, but I usually include those with my mystery sets. So that's not that much of a spoiler. There are different ones for each thing. So like there's two progress keepers that go with the project bags. For the mini skein sets, there's one kind that goes with the bonus add-on for the 6th video. There's there's a few possibilities for the stock blanks, and then there's one type but multiple different possibilities for the yarn mops. And so I think I owe Lucas one of each. But he and Ryder, what's funny is I gave them a choice between like money in the, like, I offered them like, hey, you can have Pokemon cards if you do some work for me, or you can earn some. I was like, you could do Pokemon cards, I could give you some money, or you can have video game tickets. And they picked video game tickets. And so they helped sort, because I printed a bunch of labels that like go onto these, they sorted all those labels. And so they also therefore will get some charms that they can clip to their backpacks or whatever. You collect Eevee plushies? Oh, fun! I love Eevee. You think it's a sentiment that goes well with any kind of collection hoard? Yes. And so, especially because, like, how many times are you like, my stash is out of control, I need more room for my stash, I don't need more yarn, but I couldn't resist. Like, all those things just felt like it went in. Plus, Pokemon come in a variety of different colors. And so, there are some really great color palettes, and some of them are, like, I think very unique to things combinations that I've put together before. And I had so much fun, like, taking, like, maybe a family of Pokemon, going through and pulling colors that I thought might work from it, from, like, color swatches, and then, like, designing a project to dye it. And so this was just so fun. So much fun. But anyway, yeah, so there's more yarn available. And so you should go check it out if you haven't ordered one yet. Because, yeah, I dyed a lot this year, and so I have a lot left. No, I didn't want to go there. I wanted to hide that. Okay. But yeah, so that's the spoiler. It's so much fun. I'm having so much fun. I might need to make myself a shirt with that on it, I think. I don't know if I would do a bigger one or I still have more vinyl. Because, like, the bags, because, like, sometimes there's, like, a balance between doing things. Oh, goody! The timer. I can take the yarn out. Sometimes there's a balance between doing things in a way that, like, makes things less expensive but takes more of my time versus doing things that then are more expensive but take less of my time. And so currently, I haven't found a good source for, like, custom printing project bags of the size or type that I want. And so therefore, I make my own with vinyl. But I am now removing, oh, and I should turn off the stove. We've got our yarn mop in Stroll, and then we've got our yarn. Eek. Oh, this yarn is so pretty. Oh my gosh. Woohoo! And no color went through to the bottom of the basket. That is always something that's nice to see. I mean, it's not that it's a big deal if color, like, goes through to the bottom, but I don't know. Hopefully that's on camera. It's not a problem if it, like, drips down, but then you know when you pick it up that you're not going to be dripping dye. So I'm going to set this aside. I don't know why I tend to worry about heat when it comes to the tablecloth, but anyway, that yarn is super pretty. Your son got you into playing Pokemon Go. Pokemon Go is fun. I play. I did make a thread in my Facebook group where people could like trade their friendship codes with each other. my friends list is full because from like hosting raids and like raiding with people, so I can't. I already like run out of gifts to send and can't open all the ones I have. But yeah, I play daily. So yeah, and so I will say that some of the Pokemon that I picked are more obscure ones. Some of them are famous, like more famous. Some of them are more obscure. Mainly because I was trying to not only do an interesting palette and have like an idea, but also because I really wanted to make sure each of them were different. So I didn't do, and because there's some that are just like a solid color, and so I didn't want to do that either. So yeah, it was very, very fun. But anyway, I'm gonna head out and I'm gonna try to go edit. I think that's what I'm doing today. But yeah, I will schedule a Patreon post to go out in the morning with the updated link for the patrons who get access to the behind the scenes live stream. And actually, if you join the Patreon today, you can go and watch all the old ones. And yeah, thank you so much for joining, everyone. I really appreciate it, and I hope that yeah, you're subscribed and all that jazz, and I will talk to you soon. I don't know the next time I'll be live, but I'm hoping if I get enough editing done, then I can do maybe I'll do like another silly, fun, big live stream day. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. Bye, everyone. Oh, I forgot. And if you want to dye along with me and dye yarn inspired by these beautiful flowers as well, all you have to do is share the pictures of your yarn before approximately the 15th of the following month. Share pictures of your yarn on Instagram using the hashtag ChemKnitsDyeAlong, or you can share it on Facebook using the photo comment with this inspiration photo on Facebook. Those are the ways to do it. I'm not going to spoil the beautiful little Pokemon that I'm using as inspiration. Just you wait, though. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you all soon.